Hi guys, EVP Man here with Tablets for Me, and today I'm going to take a look at a series of tips and tricks for the LG V10. Let's check them out. So the first set of tips I just wanted to share with you focus on the second screen. So we're going to get the second screen tips out of the way. You'll notice that there's several things that can happen with the second screen. At the very top here, I have, and we'll bring this down here, you'll have a signature. You also then have application shortcuts. You have a media player. And this area doesn't just come up by default. You have to configure it. So what I'm going to do is show you two ways to modify this area on the screen. So let's go into the menu settings first. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go into the menu, choose settings, and then once in settings we're going to choose display, and at display you're going to choose second screen. Now the second screen, you have a couple options, and one thing that I leave on because it really hasn't taken up significant battery is to show the second screen when the screen is off. I leave it on, so that means that when your phone is off you're still going to see the date and time, and you can navigate to certain things up here. And I think it's very beneficial because I'll show you right now. If I turn off my phone, you'll notice that the time comes up on top, and I also have access to things like my flashlight, and I also have access to Wi-Fi and also my camera from that setting. So I like the fact that leaving it on, it doesn't take up a lot of power. It's kind of like in a muted setting, but it gives you the ability to access certain controls and to see some notifications. Now, a very quick way to add shortcuts to this upper area, right? Because it has several of my recent apps, and you can actually add app shortcuts. A quick way to add shortcuts is by simply grabbing the app that you want and then dragging it to the second screen. And once you release it, it's going to remain at the very top. Now another tip I wanted to share with you is in the settings area. Now right now the settings is set up in this tabbed view. This is my preferred method of viewing my settings, but what you could also do is change it to a list view. And in the list view, all you'll do is just scroll down. Again, depending on what your liking is, you could go with the tabbed view or with the actual scroll view. Since we're still in the actual settings area, I wanted to show you something else that I like using, and that is search. Few people actually go through the search to look up things. So if I wanted to be able to work on my fingerprints, all you have to do is tap finger, start typing it in as I'm doing it, and it's automatically going to search for the match, and then that way you can find your menu items rather quickly. Out of the box, the V10 does not show you the percentage for your battery. So simply, if we go into settings, and we're going to go ahead and do this, and I want to see where the battery is, we'll try that tip I just gave you. I'll just type in battery. So we'll go into battery, and here you'll notice that there's a little option right here that I can choose that says battery percent. Now I can see the percentage of my battery. Now this next tip is the mini views feature. If you swipe your finger across the bottom of the screen just like this, what will happen is that the screen will reduce itself in size, and you can actually move the screen from left to right. You can make it even smaller, and this is just going to make it easier if you're looking to navigate around the phone with just one hand. Now, and to enable this feature, you need to make sure that you go into settings and that under general you've enabled mini view. It just makes it easier for you to navigate, especially if you have smaller hands given the size of this phone. Now navigating the LG phone may be a little bit different than what you're used to, especially if you're coming from a different Android phone or from the iPhone. If you swipe to the right, you're able to swipe and stop, and if you swipe to the left, it kind of takes you to a specific spot and stops. You can change it so that as you're swiping, it continues to rotate from screen to screen. All you have to do is go into settings. We're going to look for display, and then what we're going to do is look for home screen. And here at the very bottom, you're going to use allow screen looping. So I'm going to choose allow screen looping. Now when I do that, and we're going to go back, what will happen is I can go from screen to screen and really not worry about where my position is because it rotates. That's something that a lot of people like changing. The other feature that I like within that home screen area is the ability to change your swipe effect. So you can actually change. See how that transition was? It can show you, like, if you want to personalize the transition as you're swiping from page to page. Many people find that they like changing the way their screens interact, but they have to install a third-party app. You can do that with the LG without having to install anything. Now there are several ways to organize content on your phone. Pretty much everything that you see on the LG V10 is customizable, and that's what makes the Android ecosystem so cool. You're not stuck with the same look and feel. Now, if I want to group things, and you notice that you have these folders on here, all you do is you grab the app that you want and you drop it right on top of another app, and it's going to create a folder. So you notice these things are grouped together. Now, this folder could take up multiple attributes. I can change the color of the folder, and then I hit OK, and you notice that now it's yellow. I could also then change the name of the folder. I can call it whatever I want. So I just say call it test, and I'll choose OK. And when I'm done with it, it goes back and it has the name. If I want to find an app somewhere in the app tray that it's not on my desktop, I can just hit plus and just choose the app that I want to choose from here. Choose OK. Let me go back. And if I want to remove apps from a folder, all I have to do is drag the app out. The rule for folders is you have to at least have 2 apps in a folder for it to be a folder. But once again, this entire area, everything is customizable. So what I could do is I can move this to the very top, and I can take this app, drag it into this folder, take this app, drag it into the folder, then grab the folder and drag it to the bottom. And now I've modified the way my Launchpad here at the very bottom interacts. So completely customizable to suit your specific style and what you like to see. Now let's look at some options that you have in your app tray. Given the fact that this screen is such a large screen, for some of you, seeing the icons may be difficult. So I just want to show you a little trick. What you could do is actually change the size of the icons by choosing large. So it's going to reduce the number of programs you can have, but it's going to make the icons much larger. I'm going to reduce it so you can see the difference. So you can get more icons per screen, but the icons are smaller. Now the other thing is, if you have a lot of apps, which a lot of people do, and you have a hard time finding your app, you can actually use the search screen in the top to find the application that you're looking for. So if I was looking for Chrome and I didn't know where it was, just by typing in the word Chrome, I can find it quickly by just typing in and using that little search bar, which is very similar to the search bar that you have in administration or settings. Now, uninstalling an app is pretty simple. All you do is you grab it, press and hold, and you drag it to the top where it says uninstall. If you choose remove, it just removes it off the screen. But let's say you're removing a lot of apps. Let's say you lent your phone to your kid and they went crazy installing stuff. There's a really fast way to uninstall things, and that's by choosing these 3 buttons right here, choosing edit and install, and then all you have to do is tap anything that has an X. You see all the ones that have an X? You can tap on any of those and it's going to uninstall. The ones that don't have an X are the ones that are that come with the actual phone and cannot be removed. But this is a really quick way to uninstall programs. Now this feature, we've shown it when we were working with the second screen, but just as a reminder, if you are looking for your flashlight setting, you notice that it doesn't appear here. What LG did is, and I think this is really smart of them, most of us when we're looking for the flashlight tend to do it when the phone is off. And what you can do is you don't have to turn on the phone to find your flashlight. So your flashlight symbol or actuator is here in the second screen, and it's available when the phone is off. So you don't have to install any kind of third-party app to get the second screen or to get the flashlight feature. All you have to do is make sure your phone's off and you can access it from the top. From the display screen, there are other areas I just wanted to highlight of things that you can change. For example, one of the things I see many people consider, and that is changing your fonts. Once you change your fonts, if I change it, it modifies all of the fonts, again, to give it that personalized look. So you can change it to any of these fonts to give yourself a unique look and feel for your phone. But something that's also very practical is the ability to be able to change the size of the font so that it makes things much more legible. Again, not everyone has the same eyesight, so what you can do is you can modify the size of the font to suit your specific need. And it could get as large as this, which is the maximum, or you can go back to a medium size is what you see there. I think the phone, when it came pre-configured, came with small, but you can adjust that really quickly. The LG is all about personalization, as you've seen from all the tips that we had so far. And the very bottom part of your screen, the nav area or the home touch buttons, are no stranger to personalization. What you can do is you can go into the home touch screen area and you can change the colors. So right now I have a black with white symbols. I can make them white reverse that, or I could go with the black. So you can do that. You'll notice that as soon as you make the change, you see the feedback. The other thing you can do is work with different icons, modify the bottom. So for example, if you want a quick icon for capturing or dual window, all you have to do is grab the icon that you want, drag it where you want it, and then it appears here on the bottom. You can customize this area and move things around. Again, personalizing how you want the application or the phone to interact. You also have a dual window function, which we're going to talk about dual windows in some of the tips, and also the quick slider. But you can add any of these things up to 5 items on the very bottom, personalizing your experience for those things that you use the most. Another neat feature with the LG V10 is the multitasking or the dual window capability. When you hit this button, you're able to go to the app that you were previously in rather quickly. And the LG performs really well. You can see how fast it is to go from app to app. But there's one thing that you may want to do, and you'll notice that there's an option here that says dual window. Dual window allows you to be in 2 applications at the same time. This is really useful. I like using maps in dual windows. It could be that you're watching also YouTube and on Facebook. You could do whatever you would like. So, and what the LG system does is it remembers combinations. So notice here how I have these 2 here as a combination. When I tap it, it's going to open 2 applications at the same time because it's remembering my preference. So I have text messaging and Google or Chrome available at the same time. And I have the ability to adjust the size, make some changes, and then I have also the ability to reorganize the content that's here, so switch them so that they flip sides. I also have the ability to replace one of the programs, so I can choose, let's say for example I want YouTube down there, and now YouTube is on the bottom and I have Chrome on the top. I also have the ability here to make one maximum size like I've done here, or I could go just back to whichever application I want to work with. So dual window gives you a lot of options. And what I really like is the fact that how LG remembers your combination. So if there is a specific combination that you like, all you do is choose dual window, choose the combo that you last used, and then once you choose it, that setting takes place. So really flexible when it comes to dual screen or dual window technology. Another quick shortcut that I really like is the ability to press and hold this button right here. If I press and hold this button, what will happen is it'll bring up a shortcut menu where you can go into working with themes, go into the home screen settings, lock screen settings, or system settings, or even add apps or widgets. So it's a really quick way to get into any of those functions. Now another neat feature that's included with the V10 is the feature called Themes. Themes allows you to change the look and feel of your phone, and in many cases this can be done with other Android phones, but it requires you installing a third-party app. Samsung also has the ability to do this. So all you do is you go into the theme store, and once you choose a theme, so for example this is a sailor theme, what will happen is the phone's appearance will change with that specific theme. It changes the icons, it changes the look and feel, it even goes into some applications and it skins them, so like your phone, your messaging changes. So if you're looking to, again, create a very unique experience with your phone, I would encourage you to check out the theme store because there's a lot of options out there. There are themes that are really basic, like here's a really basic theme that's just black and white. If you're interested in something like this, you'll notice we'll show some of the examples of what happens. It changes, once again, the color of your keyboard in this case to a black and white keyboard, but there is an enormous amount of flexibility of the things that you can change based on your specific likes or dislikes. Now the next feature I wanted to show you is a feature called Q-Slide, and you have several toggles here. All you have to do is scroll over to the toggle you'd like, and you'll notice you also have your flashlight toggle. So if you do have your phone on and you're not using the top area, you can come here and just choose the toggle to turn on your flashlight. We're going to talk about Q-Slide, and Q-Slide is what I would consider a windowed app. So for example, if I were to choose messaging, what will happen is my messaging app is going to come up in a small version. Now if I go back to that Q-Slide, I can choose another app. So let's say for example I would choose the file manager. Now I have 2 apps going at the same time. So we talked about multi-window, which is where it split the apps in 2 sizes. Here what I have now is multiple windows, but more like what you used to see in Windows, where you have these apps and they can interact, one in front of the other. And this is great, especially if you're doing a lot of multitasking or have the need to have apps in this manner. You can make an app larger or smaller, right? You could also adjust the transparency. So you notice how I've adjusted the transparency, which makes it almost invisible if that's something that you need to do. Or you can adjust it. So it's transparency or opacity, as some people call it. If I want to get rid of it, all I have to do is close. But it's a really neat feature, especially if you want to have multiple applications opened up at the same time. Now this feature is one of my favorites when it comes to smartphones in the Android ecosystem, and we're going to find it under lock screen. So let's go into the lock screen feature. There's a feature here that's called the Smart Lock, and the Smart Lock, and I'm going to enter a PIN, allows you to keep your phone unlocked under certain conditions. So you'll notice right here where it says Trusted Devices. Well, Trusted Devices is one of the features that I use on all my Android phones because it allows me to keep my phone unlocked, for example, when I'm in my car and the Bluetooth is connected. So it allows me, if I'm using a headset and I'm going on a run, for as long as the headset is connected to the phone, for it to remain unlocked. It allows me, if I'm using a smartwatch like this one, as long as I have a connection to the phone, to remain unlocked. So there's several situations where you can do this. So here you'll notice you'll be able to do it through Bluetooth or with an NFC tag, but Bluetooth is my favorite. So this gives you, again, that ability to connect to those devices. Trusted Places gives you the ability to select a location. So it's going to use your GPS signal, and it will give you the ability to say, if I am in my home, the phone should remain unlocked. So you can use Trusted Places. Trusted Face is something that I don't really use. I'm just not a fan of the face recognition, but it's something that you can if that's something that you're into or want something as simple as that. Trusted Voice is voice-based. So again, you can use your OK Google type command to open it up, or you could use body detection. Now, body detection is another cool feature. However, I don't recommend it because what this feature does is, as long as the phone is on your body or in your hand, it's going to remain unlocked. It sounds cool, but what I found is when I have this on, if it's in my pocket, I start, butt dialing people like crazy because the phone remains unlocked and starts doing things it's not supposed to do. So of all the features that are here, my favorite is the Trusted Devices. There's also a lot of personalization that you can do in the messaging area. So all I did is open up messaging, and I'm going to go into settings. And under settings, I'm then going to look at general settings, and I can choose conversation theme. And conversation theme is going to give you the ability to change your background, so you can put a sky background. You can use a gallery photo or take a photo for anything that you'd like to have in that background. You also have the ability to modify your bubbles, and there are several bubble styles that you can choose from to create a unique look and feel for your phone. Now, the other thing is, if you do get text messages and you want to be able to link to URLs that may be in, so like if a friend sends you a pin, one of the things you can do is you can just check off, like I have right here, connect to URL. So that's another neat feature that gives you some flexibility when it comes to your text messaging. So this feature is a pretty cool feature. I don't see it in many phones, and I wish it was on the Android ecosystem for Galaxy, for Samsung, and that's the Spam Manager. If you've ever started receiving text messages that you've for unsolicited purposes, you're just getting all these text messages, and you want to make them stop, it could be pretty difficult. I find that most cell phone carriers are pretty inept when it comes to dealing with this situation. The couple options they have is to send the text message to an abuse number so that they can block that number, but spammers don't use the same number all the time, so that does you no good. You could also try blocking it, but the spam settings, what I like about it is that you can actually choose to block unknown numbers. An unknown number is defined as a number that doesn't exist in your contact or in your contact list. So that literally means any phone number that is not in your contact list will be rejected, which is a great feature, and not many people know that you can use that feature. So again, if you are getting spammed, check out the Spam Manager, go into settings, and block unknown numbers. Now, there's another neat setting that I use, and I use it in a couple different ways under sending text messages, and that's schedule sending. Now, this schedule sending feature is going to vary from carrier to carrier. Not every carrier has this, so just check out your version of the V10 to see if it's there. But I use scheduled messages to send a message, especially let's say if I'm out of town and I'm in a different time zone, and I want to send a message during what would be my time zone of origin's daytime hour. So let's say, for example, I'm in London, and 9 o'clock in the morning in London is not 9 o'clock in the morning in the U.S. So what I could do is I could actually schedule the text message to come in a different time. Or for example, I want to remind my son or daughter of something that they need to do in school, and I know I'm going to forget to call them or text message them, so I can actually program that. And all I have to do is I choose the date that I want the text message to go out, and then I also choose the time that I want the text message to go out. And it will store it, and once the time comes, it will send it out. There's a lot of different ways you can use this. I find this invaluable when it comes to text messaging, where you can just program things. You can program things even, let's say, for example, if you have someone's birthday coming up and you want to make sure you don't forget their anniversary or their birthday, you could actually program that in a future date so that you can send them a happy birthday message and not miss that date or their anniversary message. So check out schedule sending when it comes to text messaging. As I showed you a couple seconds ago, there are several toggles here at the very top that you can navigate with. But you notice that the flashlight one was all the way, you really don't see it when you go into it. So what I wanted to show you is how you can modify your toggles. What you do is you swipe all the way over to the edit function. And then what you can do is you can change the order of things. Look, these are all the toggles that are currently enabled. And what I could do is I can look for the flashlight one, which I have right here, and I can bring it to the top. Because I want to say, the flashlight is something that I use more than I use Capture. I don't really use the Capture Plus. And now, when I go back, you'll notice, and I'll go back to the very beginning, flashlight is the first thing I see there. So just modify your settings, your toggles to what you feel are important to you. Like, for example, if you don't use the Capture, you could go ahead and change that so that it could be airline mode, for example, or you can use it for hotspot features. So again, you can turn any of these things on or off and just modify them and change the order. Now this next feature is a pretty neat feature, and it comes included with the LG V10, and this is the management area. Many times you install a third-party application that's going to help you with a lot of these features. And one of the things I really like, and we'll go into, is the storage settings, which again, this is standard, the standard software that shows up in blah 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 blah. Another feature I wanted to show you is the interruptions area. So this is under sound and notification, and if you go into interruptions, I really like this feature because there are certain times of the day or even at night when I want to go to bed, and I prefer not to shut my phone down, and I don't want to get any kind of calls unless they're important and urgent. And what you could do is you can actually establish what your downtime is going to be, and this is going to allow you to choose the days as well as the time. You're also going to be able, in this downtime, allow for priority calls to come through. Now, the benefit of this feature is the fact that if you have, say, your employer, family, children, brothers or sisters, and you want them to override these downtime settings, you always can without having to shut down the phone or put the phone on mute and then forget to unmute it when you're on your commute. For priority only, you can actually set what kind of activities are going to come up. So you can incoming calls or new messages. So you can establish that rather easily. And then you can also determine what kind of interruptions you want to establish. So you can say, I want everything turned off. You can also have, focus type interruptions, as you can see here, as we've set up in some of the other areas. So this is a feature I don't see many people using. I typically hear that most folks either turn off their phone or they put their phone on vibrate, and then what happens is they forget to turn it on or they forget to turn the vibrate feature off. So check out the interruptions area. Another feature you should consider and experiment with is the hi-fi settings that are only available when you have a headphone connected to the phone itself. When we go into it, and I've already enabled it, you'll notice that you'll be able to adjust the volume control as well as adjust individual levels on each one of your ear earbuds or headphones. So what this will do for you is will improve the overall dynamic range or the quality of the music being listened to by using this application. I have noticed significant difference listening to the music while using these settings or enabling the software compared to just using the standard player without this function enabled. Clearly, what LG is doing here is looking to improve your overall experience when it comes to video and audio, and I think this is a nice addition. Now, if you've ever been at no, I don't like if you ever been. Walking into the grocery store or any grocery store, it's not uncommon to find a parent handing their phone over to their child to just stay busy as they are grocery shopping. The problem with that is if you give your phone to your child, they may mess things up. They may play with programs they're not supposed to. They may call even your boss when you don't really intend that to happen. So this feature right here, which is under General and you go into Users, gives you the ability to create users, and these users will have, and we're going to go into the setup, will have a different experience. They can have programs that you may choose to make available to them and others that they wouldn't. And that experience is completely different from the experience that you would have. I really recommend that if you are going to allow someone to use your phone, that the best thing to do is to have a second user. And you'll notice as soon as I set up my second user, I'm actually going through the LG setup as if this was a setup for the very first time. Once you have your users all established, you would be able to select or switch from users from left to right. So let me just go ahead and go through this process so I can show you. So the fast, one of the things that one of the features that I find is very fast and I would support, promote using is the fingerprint sensor. Fingerprint sensor on the LG V10 is one of the fastest that I've seen to date. Faster than the iPhone, and I would say probably just a fraction faster than the Note and the S6 series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the button and keep my finger on the fingerprint sensor and watch how quickly it unlocks. See how fast that was? So obviously there is the power up motion. So I'm going to go ahead and power up. And I'm keeping my finger on it and it just automatically logs in. So all I'm doing, and I'll show you again, here I have my finger, I'm pressing it like that, and I'm holding it and it unlocks immediately. So really, really fast recognition when it comes to fingerprint recognition. Now, maintaining fingerprints is pretty easy. So under fingerprint security, if we go in here, the first thing it's going to ask for is a password to go in, which is your original PIN. And what you notice is that you have a fingerprint here. What I recommend always is naming the fingerprint so that if you have problems with a specific finger, you know which fingerprint you want to re-register. So this one happens to be the index finger for my left hand, so I'll just say left index. And then this makes it easy for me to manage it. Now, when I'm going to add another fingerprint, and what I'll do is I'll do my opposite finger. You'll notice that one of the things that you want to do is vary the position of your finger. So I'm going to put it this way, I'm going to put it this way, I'm going to rotate it, even use the tip of my finger to try to get a good fingerprint. So you'll notice that when I do that, it basically says, and what I'm literally doing is just changing the position and how I do it. And it's going to want the fingerprint to be complete. And sometimes what I even do is I'll extend my finger a little bit forward so that it's getting every possible groove, because you don't always hold your finger on the phone the exact same way. I'm even going to do it upside down like this. Why not? Now notice it's going to give you a little notification asking you to use the tip of your finger. So, and you'll notice that the graphic shows even the tip. So I'm going to use the tip. And that's 100% now. So once you've done that, I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to name that one. So this is my right index. Let's do that again. And now, now that I have the right index in, you'll notice that that is nicely saved. There's a couple other things that you can do. And I really like this feature. You can also enable content lock. The content lock is going to protect your gallery and your memos with your fingerprint. By choosing this, no one will be able to go into your pictures and see what you have in your pictures or some of the other areas of the phone. So I'll choose OK. And what you can do is you can lock them also with a password if you like, or a pattern. And then this is just going to give you the ability to put in a brand new password. So I'm going to do the same thing so you can see. And you can also set your contact lock so that the pictures in your gallery and your quick memos are protected with your fingerprint. This makes it very powerful so that no one can actually see your pictures or any of your content that you've created. So I recommend if you want to keep that protected to check that off, and then that content will be protected. Now, while fingerprint security works really well with the phone, there are certain features that are still there. For example, the knock knock. You can press it twice to turn on your phone, as long as you use your fingerprint to unlock it. You could also press it twice to lock it. So the knock knock feature is still there. Now here's another feature I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of. Apple's been touting the fact that they have this flash feature that when you're going to take a selfie, illuminates your face so that you can take a picture in the dark. Well, this is something that LG has been doing for quite some time. They haven't advertised it, they don't have any cool commercials, but they did it first. If I switch it over to selfie mode, what you'll notice is the surrounding area lights up in white, and then the center is where your photo will be taken. See, that's where my hand is. So this illuminates your selfie pic in the dark when you need extra light so that you get a good selfie pic. And once again, that feature, they have the ability now to have the broad or the wide angle camera for an extended view, and that is something that you can still use. So just remember, LG did it first. Now, one of the other features I just wanted to mention that is still available with the LG line, even though Samsung did away with it, is the ability to use your phone as remote control. So I can choose add a remote, and I have the ability to configure my remote either for a projector, audio solution, even air conditioning solutions, TV, and a set-top box. So you can create your universal remote, and then there is an IR blaster here at the very tip that is going to communicate with that device and then allow you to turn on and change the channel for your cable box. So nice feature that is still available on the LG. So this concludes our tips and tricks video for the LG V10. I want to thank once again LG for making this product available for us to review prior to the release, and also want to thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions, any tips or tricks that I haven't covered that you'd like to share with the subscribers of this channel, please do so below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.